The Diddy trial and the Diddy saga is over. Like the Gene Deal story ain't bigger as the Diddy trial or the Diddy story.
Puffy.
Puffy, just large, just the man. You know, Puffy is, I think, Run DMC was the first group to really define what rap is. And I think Puffy is now in that rap renaissance, kind of being part of defining really where rap is going. He's making people dance again, getting back to the original.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love.
Competed to become the next big music sensation. Combs and Kutcher, they were often photographed together, with Kutcher showing his support for Combs' business ventures, attending Combs' Labor Day white parties.
Jaguar Wright has made a career out of exposing the secrets of the industry. Her claims are often shocking, but they resonate because they fit into the stories we keep hearing about power, control, and hidden corruption in music and Hollywood. Now she has gone further than ever before. Jaguar claims that some of the biggest names in the world were not only close to Diddy, but even helped him record tapes of his infamous parties. Names like Will Smith, Jay-Z, Ashton Kutcher, and others have been pulled into this conversation. Some of them have spoken up, some of them have stayed silent, but one thing is certain: the walls around Diddy are crumbling, and the blast radius is touching people far beyond his circle. What makes Jaguar's claims different this time is that she is pointing at names with long-standing reputations that go beyond hip-hop. These are individuals with empires in film, music, and business. When such names are dragged into a scandal, the conversation shifts from gossip to serious questions about trust, loyalty, and truth.
The Diddy trial and the Diddy saga is over. Like the Gene Deal story ain't bigger as the Diddy trial or the Diddy story. Man, I feel good, man. I feel good way before the sentencing, and I'ma feel good way after it. You know what I'm saying? That the sentencing don't have anything to do with how I feel. It just goes me to show, that tells me when God puts you in a position and puts you in a place to be involved in something, his word ain't never wrong. It's exactly what I said on my show. I said Diddy gonna end up doing 24 months in prison. The judge gave him 50 months, but you gotta realize he already had 14 months in it, practically. And he's going to get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. That give him 16 months. He's gonna do 24 months, which is gonna give him about 30 months, because he only had to do 85% in the feds. And he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, you know, I'm not saying it's gonna be rough or nothing like that, because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, went to federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim went to federal jail. So, you know, because the type of dude he is, you know, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus they gonna send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody's camp or somebody's dormitory, whereas that, it'll be real light for him. So, you know, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months. He'll be out within 2 years. It seems like a lot saying 50 months and everything like that, but it's not really a lot, not at all, bruh. It's not a lot at all.
Sean Diddy Combs is fighting for his freedom. He is facing federal charges for racketeering and transportation for exploitation. More than 30 lawsuits have been filed against him, each one echoing stories of manipulation and nights that blurred the line between luxury and corruption. His lawyers insist he is innocent, but prosecutors are circling around disturbing evidence. Finally, the verdict has arrived. One name that keeps popping up is Courtney Burgess, a one-time music industry player who suddenly became a central figure. Burgess claimed to have been shown tapes of Diddy and other celebrities, and prosecutors took him seriously enough to subpoena him for testimony. They even demanded he hand over devices and files. That means whatever Jaguar Wright is saying about celebrities being caught on tape no longer sounds like wild online gossip. It has moved into the legal system, into the courtroom, and that is a different arena altogether.
He says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs parties. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females. The drive also included a manuscript of an alleged Kim Porter memoir, a memoir that her 4 kids insist is fake. Courtney Burgess told his story on a podcast before he told the grand jury today, and after he told the grand jury, and I mean immediately after, he booked it over to my set, and he and his attorney talked to me. I should tell you that he was very limited in how much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not. Here now is my conversation with Courtney Burgess and Ariel Mitchell, who's his attorney, beginning with the question of whether the participants in the video even knew they were being recorded.
The moment a federal court recognizes such testimony, the entire narrative changes. Burgess's involvement highlights how insiders often play a role in exposing what happens behind closed doors. It also raises another question. If one insider has come forward, how many others are still holding back information, waiting for the right moment to reveal it?
Home was raided by federal authorities, and I assume it is because of this material. Is that true?
I wouldn't say that. They just went to every one of them looking for me. They said, the paperwork said the 24th, that I had to be there the 28th, and then it was the 27th. I said, I can't make it there, that's tomorrow. So I don't know. From the look of it, it was 4 days.
And I want to be specific. When we talk about a raid, we're talking about when a subpoena is served for documents, a search warrant or an arrest warrant. In this situation, Mr. Burgess was not in any way, shape, or form had a search warrant or an arrest warrant issued for him. It was just them serving a subpoena. So when the federal government needs to serve a subpoena, they use the Marshal Service to come to all of your residences if you have more than one residence. So in this situation, they sent marshals to all of Mr. Burgess's residences, and that was somehow construed or understood or turned into a raid, but he did not face a raid. It was just to serve him a subpoena.
Ariel, do you believe that the subpoenas were issued and executed based on the federal authorities' knowledge that these flash drives existed and had this kind of compromising material?
I think it was based on statements that Mr. Burgess made in a prior interview.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury.
Jaguar Wright says the tapes were not just about Diddy. According to her, he had friends, collaborators, and even Hollywood stars involved in recording and sometimes even helping him manage these private moments. She puts names like Will Smith, Jay-Z, and Ashton Kutcher in the conversation. Her suggestion is that these tapes were never about entertainment alone. They were about leverage. They were about control. In her telling, Diddy knew that if he had recordings of famous people in compromising positions, he could make sure they never turned against him. This theory fits into the larger pattern we've seen in powerful circles, controlling others not through contracts, but through secrets. Some believe this is how Diddy kept his influence for decades, even as controversies piled up around him.
What are your thoughts on Obama allegedly attending freak-off parties?
Well, I know he was there. I seen him on the tape. And his wife went with him. They all hang out together.
Yeah.
They had a lot of fun in Cuba.
What'd you say?
They had a lot of fun in Cuba.
Were they there with Jay-Z and Beyonce at the same time? What kind of fun? Were they ordering pizza and hot dogs from Chicago?
I think so.
Obama's kind of missing right now.
I don't know why.
He
came out and tried to shame all of Black America for not wanting to vote for a not black lying bitch. And now he done disappeared. That all of they magic done fell through the floor.
Jaguar's comments are not just accusations. They point toward a system where power is maintained through fear of exposure. When people believe their careers, families, or fortunes can be destroyed by a single recording, silence becomes the only option. And that silence is what allowed Diddy's empire to stand unchallenged for so long.
Guys, let's talk Tevin Campbell. We all know when Tevin Campbell came in the game years ago, Quincy Jones and your boy Will Smith was the ones who really turned him out and groomed him. I'm gonna take y'all back to Tupac, and a lot of y'all wasn't old enough when Tupac was here. Tupac was engaged to Quincy Jones' niece. At one time, Tupac came out and stated that Quincy Jones wanted him to give him that eggplant. And he called him all kind of stuff, man. See, Tupac exposed the stuff that was going on in the industry long before he passed away. Can you dig what I'm saying? So, man, you know, we got people like Quincy Jones, Will Smith, Dwayne Martin, you know, the Wayans brothers, all that stuff, man. You know, these people gonna be held accountable because they turned Tevin Campbell out. Now, Tevin Campbell was out here in Las Vegas and in Hollywood. But the question is, man, who really got that virus and who's next?
But not everyone is staying silent. Recently, Will Smith broke his silence during a live show in San Diego. He stopped the music and addressed the crowd directly. He said, "I don't have anything to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all the memes. Stop all of that." He made it clear he has never been part of Diddy's infamous parties. He even joked about the rumors, saying, "I ain't been anywhere near no damn freak off. I do enough of my own stuff. Don't be putting me in other people's stuff. I ain't even like baby oil." This statement shows how serious the rumors have become. Will felt the need to set the record straight in front of fans, insisting that the claims linking him to Diddy's world are lies. It also shows how dangerous Jaguar Wright's revelations can be for reputations. Once your name is tied to Diddy's scandal, you have to defend yourself, whether it's true or not.
Was that it? I'm not. That's a word, right?
Okay,
That's
okay.
a word.
We're the dictionary over here.
Should I do more than a word, or
Yeah,
this
you can
just
do
move
a
the word?
phrase, you
Okay,
can do a
okay,
phrase.
go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, Tupac.
Tupac, genius.
Okay, Biggie.
Biggie. Oh God, I just used genius for Pac because Biggie. I think Biggie's album "Ready to Die" is an album that should be used in psychology classes. I think it so brilliantly depicts the mindset of the urban Negro male. It's like every question you ever had about a black man, why he feels a certain way about certain situations, everything you ever wanted to know, you can find between the lines of that album. I think it's brilliant. Puffy, just large, just the man. You know, Puffy is, I think, Run DMC was the first group to really define what rap is. And I think Puffy is now in that rap renaissance, kind of being part of defining really where rap is going. He's making people dance again, getting back to the original kind of rap music. Jay-Z, second best to next to second to Rakim.
Okay. Will Smith.
Will Smith. Just the man. Just the man.
Okay, we're gonna end on that.
That guy's brilliant. That guy.
For Will, a man whose image has been carefully crafted over decades, every rumor carries weight. Fans remember his legacy from Fresh Prince to Hollywood blockbusters, so even casual connections to controversy can cast shadows. His public response was not just about denial, but about protecting his family's name and legacy from permanent damage.
Well, Jay-Z just got named in the Diddy lawsuits. We've been saying it for a long time, and this is just the start. There's a lot more coming. Jay-Z has been accused in a civil case, and just accused, not convicted, in a civil case of raping a 13-year-old girl in the year 2000 with Diddy. This is a suit filed by Tony Busby, this dude out of Texas. And I just want to clarify what's happening in the music industry here is that this allegedly happened after she was driven to a party after the MTV Video Music Awards. Because what is coming out is that this is mainstream culture being done by most of the biggest names at the after parties of the award shows. This is like, the reason why this is crazy is because everyone knew, because it was an open secret, because it was happening in the middle of the mainstream culture. This lawsuit is from victims that are being represented by Tony Busby. He's the one that came out saying that he's representing 120 clients. He's the one that had that whole press conference that said many powerful people will be exposed. And I just want to clarify that this is boys and girls. In the first 6 complaints, it was on behalf of 2 Jane Does and 4 John Does. We've got complaints from people that were as young as 10 years old at the time. And Tony Busby is not just some random lawyer. This dude has a long, powerful career. He was on the cover of the New York Magazine in 2010 for his litigation against BP following the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. He's represented celebrity cases, rapper, all kinds of stuff. He's also got a whole bunch of other stuff going on in his life. He's got a big reputation, and he's not trying to ruin that reputation. But these are just allegations, obviously, and we don't know yet. Jay-Z put out a letter basically being like, I'm innocent. And he actually said, I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Okay, Jay-Z, let's go for a criminal complaint. Let's send this to jail. My guess is that just like with Diddy, what starts as a civil case will probably also become a criminal case. But I just want to read the last paragraph out of Jay-Z's letter here. Quote, you have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes of honors. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. Okay, Sean, let's see just how different you are. In most cases, I would be, waiting for judgment and trying to see what comes out in court. And we will see what comes out in court. But the whole industry has been talking about Jay-Z for a long time. The whole industry was talking about Diddy for a long time. This is not a secret, and we all know what's coming. And Diddy's protection obviously ran out, and maybe Jay-Z thinks that his protection is still good, but I got news for you, Jay. It's a whole new world, and the people are ready for change. And we are done with this corrupt, disgusting, blackmail culture. So it looks like Jay-Z's got 99 problems, and little boys and little girls are about to be all 99 of them. So peace.
Jay-Z also found himself pulled into the chaos. In December, his name was suddenly added to a lawsuit that accused him and Diddy of involvement in disturbing acts back in 2000. The accusation shook the industry, but Jay-Z refused to quietly settle. Instead, he fought back publicly. His lawyer called the case frivolous and appalling. And just recently, the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled in the same form. Jay-Z celebrated that as a victory, saying the allegations were fictional and damaging to his family. He described how traumatic it was to be accused of something so extreme without a shred of proof. His legal team even claimed it was an attempt at blackmail. By clearing his name, Jay-Z made a point to show he would not be intimidated into silence or settlement. But for many people, the fact that his name was even pulled into this mess shows how wide the shadows of Diddy's empire really spread.
Because Jay-Z and Puff was given an assignment, and that was to destroy East Coast rap. And what I mean by that, and I know people gonna be like, yo, Gene is out of his mind and everything like that. Check this out, brother, is that New York rappers was getting 80 to 100, 800 to 1.2 million, or some larger than that, and sign with labels back then. And they was getting a lot of money to make albums and records. When they had guys down south that these labels was paying $250,000, $300,000 on record deals, and these guys was bringing back platinum albums and everything like that. So what they had to do was, they had to keep New York rappers down. That's one reason, other than the Irv Gotti that 50 was going through and the poison they was putting in about 50, he had to go elsewhere to California or with Jay and not with Dre and Eminem to get a deal. They did not want East Coast rappers to get big. They were suppressing all new artists that was coming out of New York. Jay and Diddy was doing that. That's why when I heard your story, because I knew this for a long time, but when I heard Dame Dash that Jay wouldn't sign off on nothing, Jay wouldn't do this and Jay would that, because he couldn't let a Cameron blow up. He couldn't let an East Coast rapper like Beanie Siegel blow up. Because him and Diddy was giving that deal, we gotta keep these East Coast rappers down. Because down south rappers, Cash Money, No Limit, Ludacris and them, they was taking little money and bringing back more money and making more money for them. So the record labels, I wouldn't say they was gonna lose off the East Coast rappers, but they couldn't give them peanuts. They couldn't give them $200,000 to do an album, $300,000 to do an album. They couldn't give them that type of money. They had people like Graf getting $800,000 doing an album and never came out. So they was placed to destroy the East Coast rap. And then along came a somebody that was about to bring East Coast rap back. And there's nothing they could do about it. And this kid was finna put East Coast on the map, just like Big did. And this is after 50. And that was Papa Smoke. Pop Smoke. That was Pop Smoke. Let me just tell you something, man. 2 weeks before Pop Smoke died, K Slay, who heard this from the industry, that knows that happens in the industry, set Pop Smoke and his people down and gave them a jewel. He said, y'all gonna have to protect him with his life.
This moment also reminded the industry how vulnerable even billionaires can be when their names get tied to scandal. Jay-Z's triumph in court does not erase the fact that his name will forever be associated with the accusations. It shows how one lawsuit can attempt to rewrite history, even when it collapses under legal scrutiny. Then there's Ashton Kutcher. His name might surprise some people, but according to Jaguar Wright, he too was linked to Diddy's world. We all know that industry mogul Sean Diddy Combs is currently behind bars, awaiting trial. He was arrested back on September 17th last year on charges of racketeering. Since his arrest, the world has not stopped talking about the controversy and has even pulled many big names into the mess as well, including Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher and Diddy go way back. Ashton has been described as a regular guest at Diddy's now infamous parties, also known as the White Parties. What makes this connection more intriguing is that Kutcher once made comments about what supposedly happens at these parties. Remarks that raised eyebrows. Diddy tried to shut it down with a joke, brushing aside the seriousness of Ashton's words.
Do you know the story from 2001 when a young Ashton Kutcher got stood up on a date and then the next morning that girl had been murdered? And you remember how Kanye said that they couldn't control him because he ain't never killed no one? And listen, I'm not accusing Ashton Kutcher of murder or anything else. I'm just saying there might be a lot of skeletons in his closet. And this story is pretty weird. And it was a crazy unsolved murder case from the start, but then just last year, a new spicy detail dropped that is just tinfoil maximum. So on the morning of February 22nd, 2001, Ashley Ellerin's roommate got home from a night out and found her murdered, stabbed to death 47 times on the floor of the home that they shared. She called police, obviously, and they started investigating. And then they got a call from Ashton Kutcher, freaking out, because he said, my fingerprints are gonna be on that door handle and I need to explain what happened. Remember, this is way back when he was just a few seasons into that 70s show and he had just starred in Dude, Where's My Car? And what Ashton told police at the time is that he had met her a week before at a party at her house. They'd been acquaintances and they decided to go on a date. They had a date scheduled for 8 p.m. on the 21st. They were gonna go out to a Grammys after party, but then he went to his buddy, Christy Swanson's house to watch the Grammys. And he wound up watching the Grammys through 8 o'clock and he called her and was like, hey, I'm gonna be late at 8:24. She said no problem. She had actually just gotten out of the shower and she was gonna blow dry her hair. She would speak to him soon. So then an hour and a half later at 10 p.m., he called her to let her know he was on his way, but she didn't pick up. So he redialed her a couple times. She didn't answer and he eventually showed up at 10:45, more than 2.5 hours after their date was supposed to start. He arrived at her house and knocked, but the door was locked. He couldn't get in. He tried the handle. And so he looked in the window and he says he saw what appeared to be a red wine stain on the carpet. I didn't really think anything of it, he said. And then he left, thinking he had been stood up. They never investigated him. He was not a suspect. They didn't take any DNA from him. The case went unsolved for 7 years. But it gets even weirder when you find out that the apartment manager of Ashley Ellerin's apartment, who is an aspiring actor, said he was having a relationship with her, consensual, and he was in the house when Kutcher called. He said he was just hanging out with her from about 7 to 8 p.m. on the night when this chick is about to go to a Grammys after party with Ashton Kutcher. She's just hanging out with her apartment manager, and then at some point she went and took a shower while he was still there. And then, remember, she said she'd just gotten out of the shower and was gonna blow dry her hair when Ashton Kutcher called her at 8:25 p.m. And then, shortly after her shower, things turned physical. He doesn't, just one thing led to another and it was mutual. And then they, did the thing for about 15 minutes and then he left her apartment shortly after because he was expecting his own girlfriend to get home. He kind of got the phone call timing wrong. He said it was at 8:15 that the call happened. Then they were like, no, it was 8:24. And he's like, yeah, okay, I must have left later. He also had a fresh cut on his arm that detectives noted in a report. Never gets explained in the various reporting I could find. When the defense attorney questioned the apartment manager, he said, did you ever tell police that Miss Ellerin was trying to conquer you? Weird language. Just that she was very attracted to me and that she wanted me to be a part of her life. Also weird language. And then when the defense attorney asked if the apartment manager had ever spoken to his then girlfriend, now wife, about this infidelity, he says, we never discussed it. So you continued to lie to her all these years? No, Durbin replied quickly. But you never discussed it? But you didn't lie? But in all the looking I could do through all the different media reports that happened on this relatively high-profile case, I didn't find anywhere that they mentioned.
For the public, this felt like another small crack in Diddy's carefully polished image. People began asking why Ashton, someone known for lighthearted roles and philanthropy, would even mention something so odd about those gatherings if there was not at least some truth behind it. Though Kutcher has not been formally dragged into lawsuits, the fact that his name continues to be mentioned alongside Diddy's adds another layer to the ongoing conversation about who knew what and who chose to remain silent. Ashton's involvement matters because it shows how Diddy's reach crossed industries. If music stars were vulnerable, and Hollywood actors too, then the scope of this scandal might be bigger than anyone first imagined. The fact that someone like Ashton was even connected in rumors reveals how blurred the lines between industries had become. The real question is why these tapes matter so much. According to insiders, Diddy's parties were not random. They were planned, staged, and sometimes even recorded. The purpose, Jaguar Wright says, was not only pleasure, but insurance. With tapes in his possession, Diddy could hold influence over anyone. Business partners, rivals, even friends. Courtney Burgess claimed he saw videos of celebrities who appeared disoriented, possibly even underage. Prosecutors think he might be holding evidence that could bring new charges. Meanwhile, Diddy's lawyers argue these are lies, insisting the video's prosecutors have only shown adults in consensual relationships. But the damage is already done. Once people believe that secret tapes exist, the fear spreads. Nobody wants their name on the list.
I was recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow, can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No,
the
I
tape.
can't explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video, and I can tell the video was pornographic in nature.
Oh my, all right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, Diddy. And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded.
All right. I wanted to ask you about the police report we talked about, but when your client came out, obviously the neighbor knew. Did she talk to her family? Did she talk to her friends? Did she have another lawyer? Let's go back to your client.
So at the time, she, as most victims are, they feel a lot of shame.
Absolutely.
And they don't want to vocalize what happened to them because then it makes it real. So they kind of internalize it and get over it. And due to the high profile nature that it was Mr. Combs who did this, she was afraid for her life. She was concerned that if she was to come forward and say something, that no one would believe her, because we're talking about 2018 when Mr. Combs was still pretty much at the height of his career, still very much so an icon and influential figure. So she's just a young girl from Northern California who's gonna believe that he had done something to her like this. So she didn't tell anybody. She did not hire an attorney. All she did was make the police report in the hopes that maybe the police would try to investigate and come up with anything. But she said she kind of felt from the police that they were disregarding what she was saying, even without saying Mr. Combs' name. So she didn't feel any confidence that revealing his name would have done anything.
The bigger implication is that these tapes might not only serve as leverage, but as silent handcuffs on powerful figures. Once someone knows there is a possibility they are being recorded, their loyalty is secured through fear, not trust. This is why even whispers of such evidence create panic in the highest levels of fame. Now we are watching the fallout. Will Smith denies everything. Jay-Z fought back and got his lawsuit dismissed. Ashton Kutcher has stayed silent, but his name lingers in the conversation. Diddy's lawyers call all of this outrageous and unfair. But at the same time, he is still sitting in custody, denied bail, awaiting trial in May. The lawsuits continue to pile up. Former staff continue to share troubling stories of Wild King nights. And Jaguar Wright continues to stir the fire with every new claim. Each new denial or lawsuit only keeps the story alive in headlines. The public is left questioning who is telling the truth and who is protecting themselves from exposure. And in the middle of it all, Diddy's silence in jail is creating a vacuum that allows rumors to thrive, unchecked, shaping the narrative daily.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, Albie Shore, Heavy D, longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim's dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was gonna meet up with him because we were in Vegas, and then the next thing you know, you wanna know what they all had in common though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone. Just him. I guess Al disappointed.
The story of Diddy and these alleged tapes is no longer just about one man. It is about power, influence, and the secrets that shape the entertainment industry. Jaguar Wright has put huge names into the spotlight, and whether her claims are true or not, the fact that people believe them says a lot about how fragile celebrity reputations are right now. Will Smith wants nothing to do with Diddy. Jay-Z has fought off a major lawsuit. Ashton Kutcher remains a question mark, but with prosecutors still searching for evidence, and Jaguar Wright promising more names, the real question becomes this: how many more celebrities could be exposed before the truth finally comes out? When we talk about scandals of this scale, we often see only the surface, but behind it lies a network of influence, secrecy, and people willing to protect themselves at any cost. So the lingering question for the world is simple: will the truth ever truly be revealed, or will it stay buried forever? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.